it off. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mm. When Nina, you put the timer and then you were leaning back to the chair or this, I assume it's a comfortable thing, and I saw you took a deep breath. I had the sense that we are in the same room. Somehow my focus was there, and then I just lifted my, because I saw I have a bigger image of you from your the middle of your torso to above your head, and us
Right.
having kind of the same, you know,
Yeah.
portrait. So it was quite an interesting,
No, but it was nice to see.
huh?
I like the torso also.
Yeah.
The complete.
Well, that's why I leaned forward though, because I wanted to really look into your eyes. Where back
Mm.
here, it's harder for me to see them.
Yeah, but this movement is actually quite interesting, of me actually thinking about that one day. Where am I looking? So where from my body I'm actually looking at the screen, because I have been looking at the screen so much,
Yes.
and kind of a practice of like, how can I actually integrate my back? Can I just come and
Mm,
I don't this
yeah.
movement, the sense of this movement is just, it's different by having
Yeah.
this, having the screen to connect, and and yet it's also interesting, Marina, that the way I see your head, it's a very different position, and it's already like, I can dance. I can just, I can move with it. It's quite an interesting thing. And giving time for that just to see, that was nice.
I'm not a big
Yeah.
user of Zoom, and I always have this surprise that everyone has, like the camera. I don't know where it's situated. I don't know what if you have PC or mic, but it seems always perfectly like centered. And me, my camera, I think it's just down my screen, and I have, because of these zooms, I really have this image of me like a criminal, always from like below or something. It's, yeah. But anyway, I guess that's why I was like,
Mm.
Sometimes because I wear glasses and I have near distance and far distance lenses, but they're not quite right for the distance to the zoom, And sometimes when I'm teaching, I'm like, I need this close to see them in their little Zoom boxes. And, I don't know, it's funny.
I'm in the time of the day where I like to ask, how was your day? Because it's already like, I'm kind of tired after I assisted an artist today working on really big paintings. And because I think also because it's dark, it's a time to ask these kind of questions. So, how are you?
Yeah.
How was your day? Even though maybe it just started for you, Nina.
It's 1 o'clock here, and I've had already. Well, I had one meeting and one class so far. So this is my second meeting today, and but
What
yeah,
did you
it's
teach?
in the middle of the day here.
Mm.
So it's a good day. It's Friday, which I'm happy for. And tomorrow, for the first time in weeks, months, I'm going to go to nature.
Oh,
I'm
but
going to
it
spend the
seems
night.
like It seems like you are a little bit, you have some green trees or something behind you, but you're not in the
Oh,
nature.
that's just my yard. But I'm going down close to the Mexican border, in the desert, in the Chihuahuan Desert. And this is where I live is the darkest skies in the United States, besides Alaska. So I see like amazing stars here. There's no light pollution. So I'm looking forward to getting out in nature.
How long will you have there?
Oh, not long enough. Just one night, really. Drive down in the afternoon, spend the night in the back of the truck, just open to the sky, and then have breakfast and come back. So
Looks
yeah.
nice.
What about you, Esther? How was your day?
I don't know what to say. It's been, it was really intense because today I had two classes, but one class was at the university where I teach, the University of Theatre and Film Arts in Budapest. One of the class was within the time of the strike of the workers of the university. And it was quite an interesting way to spend my time with the students, but I had only two students in that class, and both of them came back from recovering from COVID. So that was quite a dialogue and bringing something for them and moving very gently on mats and with the Pilates ball. So and then with their permission, we did a very short hands-on work to loosen up the chest and the shoulders. I don't work with touch these times since March, and now I'm teaching without. But we talked about it. We made it sure that our hands were clean, and I just had the feeling that it was really, it went really deep, and for me this was not like, this was also my way to be able to, you know, also sympathize with the workers of the university to be on strike. And then today it's very intensive discussions, so we have Zoom meetings almost continuously because I'm a student and also I'm a teacher at the university, and so we have different forums to discuss very specific issues about the future of the university. So and then I had a rehearsal which was amazingly beautiful and with the danceability, with the mixability company, and we were working with support, but the support not in you know, we last time we worked with support when it's not you know, when it's not the floor, it's not the hard or with effort kind of support that we give to each other, or the objects that give us, or the floor. It's more, what is the support that's within the body, but it's actually space. And then we worked with visual tactility today, but we have a blind dancer, so we also worked with touch and to get image through touch, so both ways, because we are rehearsing in a new space, a new place, so we have to get to know a little bit and have time for us to discover, and this is beautifully unfolding, and that's very rewarding. And then back to Zoom, back to talk, conversation with a friend, and yeah, so, but somehow it was very important for me that today we're going to talk, that we're going to, or be together, be yeah, somehow it's it didn't give me this, you know, to really get, I'm like really rewarding. So sorry to be so long.
No.
No.
But yeah.
Do you, because well, I don't know you yet, so I'm very curious, and I've just looked actually at your contributions and your offers on the website of Grand Reunion, and your video, Eszter, is the one with the where we can see many different touches, or I don't know, and you just told about also these touching images, and I'm just, well, it's a very, maybe it's too vague question, but I wondered if how central it was for you, or how, I don't, how do you work with it? I don't know. Just I'd like to hear you a little bit more talk about this thing of touching.
Hmm. I think it's I mean, it's a long journey that I have, how I actually came around, you know, learning about the moving self and learning about the body through touch and communication, not just only through the hands, but through two bodies, you know, meeting, physical meeting. And but just to go directly to the little film, I think it was quite interesting for me how like also when I teach, I emphasize of the hands, but not in terms of, you know, manipulating, but just to that the hands become part of the whole body, and in terms of sensation too. I mean, I teach dancers, I've taught dancers and actors, you know, and these, you know, hands are like, you know, wrists, like arms
Yes.
finish as the wrists. And in contact improvisation, we also say that, you know, hands are not there to like grab each other. And of course, I like to grab also, but it has a different, you know, that's also like surface. And but you know, with having the pandemia, hands got a different role, or something happened. So, and also teaching through Zoom, I was kind of doing things with my students to start the self-touch, sensitize for tactility by using the hands. And if I'm close to the camera, and if I do that, it becomes a dancer, you know, it becomes a dancer. So by doing this or that.
I could almost touch your hand next, but I need to find the
Yeah,
right
yeah,
distance.
we can,
But I
yeah.
saw your, but because I'm on your, okay, we're not, but I can, I guess
But
it
now you
could
can
work.
come on the others. I also have to go to now. Yes. And Nina, you're like, oh, yes.
Right.
So it was quite, you know, and also
No, but
all the
it's nice.
washing hands,
Mm-mm-mm.
and also how about if these two hands are actually dancers and communicating. So there's a little part when I'm on my back, and so, and it was, and also the gesture of taking off the mask, so. And it was actually a film for a course at the doctorate school, when the task was to somehow reflect the time of our, you know, it was like 2 months in the pandemic that I was asked to, or I chose that as a completing the course. We had to write or make a little film, or an artistic process, something, and then I chose for that. And then it had to be personal, and it couldn't. My work is usually very abstract. You know, I'm not working with, you know, so concrete things, and so it was a challenge for me to, without telling a story, still being more concrete. And somehow the close up and hands was a choice to somehow talk about something, and then make cuts that it's, I don't know, I haven't been editing films, you know. This was my first thing. And touch is really, really important for me. But
Yeah.
and I had a long journey to learn my hands as a dancer, so I have a lot to do with my, you know, like, I remember a choreography. I had to jump on stage from the it was in 91 1991, jump on stage, like like do this with my hands and then turn and look at my hands. And I said, yeah, but what am I doing? You know, why do I look at my hand? What am I seeing? It was really difficult. I said, no, this is alien. My hands are alien. Anyway, but you're. How do you use
What?
your hands, Marina?
Ah.
And your how it's integrated into your body?
It's very present because I think I feel it's the place maybe that needs the more to move in my body. And I think maybe that's why also I draw, because I need I don't know, I know that when even as a student in school, I think part of this drawing thing was just making my hands move, and it was not really about what I was doing on paper. And yeah, I don't know, it sometimes it can be in with this, but I also like to touch other bodies, and just like, I don't know, just do something with my hands so that they are calm at some point. And it's actually maybe also a struggle for me to calm them down, and just I'm always even when I speak, I know that I use a lot my hands. I mean, it's not really visible. Well, I could just, but yeah, I even that's really visible in my drawings, that there are many traces. And sometimes I would just like, yeah, to find the way to do less. Yeah, but
Maureen, you said today at work you were working on paintings. What is that?
yeah, but it's not my paintings. It's actually a kind of it's between a money job and something that is interesting for me. But I'm assisting an artist, Netko Salakov. He's a Bulgarian artist, and he's doing a show in a gallery in the countryside where I first tried to reach you. And he needs to do big paintings, but because of this situation of COVID, he cannot come. So what's really interesting, he drew like black figures, really simple ones, and my job was to project them into the space. It's an old factory. It's really big. It's huge, and to find the right size and the right position with him, so sending him pictures and everything, and so that it has some presence and a sense of being there in this space, and then to paint it. So it's really like maybe 4 or 6 meters high figures, and but so that's what I was doing. And I also wanted to do that because I wanted to paint, and I'm always happy painting. Yeah, so that's it.
But how do you paint 6 meters high? Are you hanging? Are you climbing on something? Is there a construction you're standing on?
I would love to be hanging, but no, I'm using, but it's also quite, I like this thing of being like high up in the space. So now I'm using, I don't know the name, but it's a machine. I mean, I can drive it, and then I do and I'm there, and I can just paint everything. So it's really stable.
I'm reminded that I'm sort of riffing on this idea of touch and how the pandemic has changed our perceptions of our bodies, and bodies is becoming dangerous, or hands,
Mm.
becoming dangerous. But then, and I miss touch. I miss touch a lot during this COVID time. I can't teach contact improvisation. They won't allow that. But I've just had this thought though, with you talking about your hands and your painting, like painting almost is a kind of touch.
Oh, it's definitely a touch. That's why, I mean, there is so much sensation, and that's the whole thing about, I don't know, there's really, it's really sweet, it's really soft. Yeah, it's really physical, I think.
It's inspired me because I'm thinking, well, maybe if I do some painting, I will somehow feed my desire, right, for that kind of interaction. Not human to human, but yet.
Yeah, that's why I did that, but I did it with charcoal after a workshop with Lisa Nelson, when we were working on this touching thing of touching and being touched, and just like explore, like be curious of these two possibilities. And it started actually with the hands, and then when I went back to the studio, I just used a piece of charcoal, and I never had this relationship with the paper, like, and with the charcoal, to pay attention of being touched also by both of these things, and of also paying attention to of the touch. So, and it was I started to do it like from time to time, and yeah, it's, I mean, I've seen that you've used charcoal, so in one of Nina, on one of, at least one of your work. So I
Yeah.
guess you. Yeah.
Well, it was interesting when I saw your painting. That's your
Yeah.
drawing, and that's standing in front of it. It's very beautiful. Yeah, and you have charcoal on you. I do something called rewire movement, and so what I do with charcoal is I dance, and the charcoal just is a
it's
tracing.
a trace. Yeah.
The trace. So I'm not trying to make, but I got the sense also from your composition, what came out of this process you're in, this sort of emergent. I like that word, emergent. You're not, because sometimes I see people on the internet, artists, visual artists, who are, showing how if they're on their knees and they have charcoal and they're doing this, it makes big circles. So they have an intention to create that, which I don't do. I want to see what my body leaves behind, almost what the movement leaves behind, and I got a sense of that also in your drawing. And now that you're talking about Lisa Nelson and taking that process into that drawing, that makes a lot of sense.
Can I just share the screen, because I have the picture that you sent.
Oh, okay.
So I can just do a share screen, so we can just continue, because it could be, I really love that photo. So we can just continue, but I would just go and thank you.
I was wondering, Nina, because it's really a question for me right now, but when you said that you wanted visual, a visual trace of your movement, where where does that come from, this curiosity of visualizing these traces? I don't know if there is an answer to that.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, the movement that I'm doing to leave the traces is a kinetic state I work in. It's part of the rewire work, and it's dancing from the body. So I'm, not going from the brain to the body as like a choreographer planning the next movement. And so so I thought, I've been doing it for a lot of years, and it's extremely calming to the nervous system. It takes the nervous system down. You get underneath your mind. You know, you can actually go way far away from your mind and really start almost surfing on the desires of your body. And then we were making a durational piece out here in Marfa, where really letting the landscape affect our artistic choices. And that's when I came up with the idea of paper. And so the audience is actually up in the theater seating, looking down in a hallway. And, you know, the dancer passes, stands up, walks back, passes again, stands up, walks back, passes again, over and over. And so then they start all white, and then they get increasingly covered with the charcoal. So this whole idea of leaving, you know, the dancing leaving a tracing, and then those dancers went to dance with dancers who were all white with no charcoal. And we did this dance of almost like boulders. Do you know what a boulder is? Big rocks. Big rocks in the desert that for 300 years they're like this, and then they go and just move a little. So we did a trio trying to do that kind of score, like the cantilever and durational, like really staying there until there was a slip and a recovery. But then the charcoal started to imprint on the dancers that had all just white. And anyway, it was a really satisfying piece to put together. It was over an hour long, and the audience came in. There was this long piece with my partner, Andrew Wass, did in paper, which was like tectonic shifts, right? Anyway, it was really nice. So that's where it came from.
And it's maybe a stupid question, but what was for you so satisfying in this? I mean, you told maybe you said many things, so I think I can understand, but I don't know if there is something to specify or.
Well, one thing that I found pretty remarkable was that people that didn't have a lot of dance experience came, and they were like, oh my gosh, wow, that was just so amazing. And so I kept talking to them to try and get them to get a little bit more specific about what actually happened to them. And finally, I remember one woman saying, well, I felt like I was dancing. Because it has this repetitive thing, your mirror neurons start to make you do it also. And so everybody was calming down, you know, in the audience and in the piece, and it was durational, so everything went on a long time. And the next day, a woman came to my house and knocked and said, I need to have coffee with you. And I was like, okay. I went out of town, I came back, called her, and we had coffee, and she said, I would like to give you my house. From looking at the performance, I've decided, I was trying to figure out when I die what happens with my house, and I think from that performance I want to give it to you, and I want to think about artists staying in it, you know.
Whoa.
So that was really a trip. That was really a trip.
Did it, I mean, is it gonna be your residency for real?
Yeah, the nonprofit that I'm part of will have a house for artists to live in.
Wow, that's wonderful.
It is wonderful. Yeah. So I don't know. That's satisfying.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Mm.
And what about you? How are you using your hands? So how do they connect with the rest of your body, Nina?
These hands were digging potatoes in Ireland not so long ago.
Yeah, visible. Okay.
I have very strong hands and I touch the world very strongly, sometimes too strongly. So I always have to work on touch. You know, I've had a lot of Alexander work and different body. And, you know, some people have this just amazing touch that just does so much. And I'll like, so I use my hands sometimes too strongly, but I think it's because of all those potatoes they dug out of in Ireland out of the famine. My family, part of my family comes from Ireland and came to America because they were starving.
Mm.
Yeah, just from the hands, an image came to me from the little film that it's also that you started your question, and then the teacher who asked for this work, she watched it and then she asked the question, what makes washing a hand personal? Like I recorded in this film washing like the tap water and then washing, and this was her question. What does it like? Is it, do I ask it right in English? So
Yeah.
because we always wash our hands, but what makes it personal or individual? And I was like, I didn't answer the question, but it was like quite interesting that she just asked that it's such a normal gesture and we have been doing these instructions of how to do it. And it's like how it's like when you say digging in Ireland, you know, potato, and then what is how these gestures are personal. But then there was another image when we were talking about hands, and this comes to the place where I am right now. And I tried to bring you, show you something, but it's not in the room. I might have to get out. That you know, when we are now protesting against those changes that are happening at the university, the students found out that they have nothing to, you know, when they cannot speak up, what do? We give a gesture. So what they've, and that maybe you have seen that they had a gesture of showing the palm, and it's written free SFA, like free university. But we don't have to write anymore anything onto our hands, just to put it in front of us to a certain height, not to cover our face now, because there was another gesture in the fall when they wanted to cut the support for the alternative theaters and for the theaters, and cut their budget, and like there was almost another low came for the performance art. But now we have this gesture next to our face, upright and not with straight hands, but just here. And the hands became the logo of this whole movement, that it's actually happening at the university. So of course it has a meaning, you know, stop or leave us or look at us, you know. So hands are like so much information and all that. So this was just, I wanted to share that when we were talking and how hands are coming into the conversation, that's with us, because the students also made like huge posters. But not only that, but they produce masks. That's why I want to show you masks with the sign. But it's also you can see this as a logo on a t-shirt, or people can come around the university because there are always guards. The students and teachers guarding the university, and people are asking for making these prints with we have the negative form and a piece of paper in different sizes. So people are coming and they can spray. So they can make t-shirts for themselves, or they can, put it on their masks. And so that's their way to express their solidarity. So these hands are, it's quite, you know, it's kind of simple and so strong.
Mm,
And you know, I don't know, this just what the hand is doing.
mm.
Yeah.
Wow, is it okay? It just image to image makes me think. Um, this summer in August, I went to grotto. Can I say that in France? La grotte Chauvet, Chauvet's grotte, cave, a cave, where there are like these very very old
What?
paintings, and it 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 it's not the oldest one any longer, but it used to be like considered as one of the eldest, like maybe 40,000 years ago. And so it was a reproduction, because the other one, like the real one, is protected, but the reproduction was really well done. And anyway, one of the first thing that they did was that, actually, on this and you can see, so, and you can see like, and it's very nice because it also helped identify, this is something really, it helped somehow personalize something that otherwise would be just a sign, because one of the man or woman who did that had the small finger here a little bit like this. And so in the different place where he or she did that, we could really, I mean, know that it belongs to the same person. And yeah, it's I don't know,
Very personal.
yeah, it's really personal. And at the same time it's a sign that belongs to everyone, like or it has something really simple. And yeah, but it seems terrible what's happening right now in your university. I feel, from France, I feel as if I don't really know what to do about the whole mess that happens in so many different places in the world. I feel really I don't know, disarmed, or I don't know how to say. Even Hungary is not far away, and we hear like the news, and yeah, I don't know, it I don't, yeah.
I mean, the fact that there's this, I was thinking this morning, I guess our talk is really kind of inspired some thinking, we're in a pandemic with a microbe, but there's a pandemic also in this march towards authoritarianism. And the fact, it just blows my mind, like, really, can it be a contagion? And it feels like that. I mean, we're suffering through Trump, right? And the complete takeover of a party. And Hungary, Poland, other countries where there's this totalitarian, authoritarian, almost, emerging, and like it's being caught. It's like a little disease also that comes. And when you look back, excuse me, at World War II, how Japan, Mussolini, Hitler, how this just happened, and then engulfed the whole world in it. I feel something, maybe it won't play out the same way, but I feel the same phenomenon growing like a cancer, like a disease.
And how, what kind of reaction do you, how do you feel?
It's very difficult because I am and want to be an activist, but it feels hard, because it feels overwhelming. But I am heartened. I am heartened that, at least in the United States, that people are on the streets, which is what we talked about the other day, Esther. It makes me feel hope, but this authoritarian white supremacy, we have a very complicated relationship with race in our country, of course, through the long scourge of enslaved, kidnapped Africans that were here as property. It's brought out, the white supremacists are now just raising up, and Trump is encouraging them to do it. And so now things that you think are gone are not gone. They're just suppressed. And then, they're starting to come up. It's unbelievable. You're just like, what in the world is going on? But at least in this country, sorry, the 60s and 70s of liberation in our country are not for everybody, not for everything, but this sense of change, I think it just scared the conservatives, and starting with Nixon and Reagan, which is in the 80s, 70s and 80s. They very systematically made taking back the country, right? Taking it back. And abortion, they sell their souls to Trump to get one thing like abortion. So they're like, well, it's worth it. If we can outlaw abortion, then it's worth it if all this other shit happens, which is just totally nuts. So it's very depressing to feel a country going backwards. And I'm sure you must feel like that too, right? It's just like, let's just go backwards.
Do you feel that you have any power against that?
Yes, I mean, so far we're a democratic country, though he's threatening not to leave if he loses, so, and he's the commander in chief, so it's complete dictatorship that he's really wanting. No, I have to believe we have enough people in this country that are going to be on the streets and be voting, but they're trying to keep people from voting. It's really bad. It's really bad.
And well, I wondered how these political evolutions around you too. Do you manage to just how does it relate to your work and to your research? Is it completely, I mean, I'm just sticking to that. Does it relate somehow, or do you cut, like, as if you have your activist life and you concentrate on your work? How egoistic do you manage to be to do your work, or do you feel like you need to be an activist? What kind of balance do you find? It's also a question that I ask myself always.
Köszönöm.
Köszönöm.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Au revoir.
Yeah. Au revoir. Merci.
Yeah.
Wow. It was fast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adios.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Yeah, hopefully. See you.